Hello and welcome to the Unwanted Opinion special review of Andor Series 1. I'm Lewis and I'm joined here with my good friend Kyle today.
Hello. Yes.
Hey Kyle, how you getting on?
Do you know what, Lewis? I'm on a high.
You're on a high?
I'm on a high,
You're on a high
yeah.
after this show.
After this
okay.
show, which is something I've said a lot recently, actually, on our show.
With Star Wars.
With Star Wars, yes. And just
Star Wars, yeah.
entertainment as general. But anyway.
Okay, well, let's just jump right into it, guys. This will be a full spoiler-filled review of the whole first series of Andor, so if you have not watched it, don't listen to this, or if you don't care about spoilers, please listen in. I don't really care. It will help me.
You're
so.
like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care if
Ford
you
over
don't care
here.
about spoilers.
Brilliant.
Yes, so Andor obviously is a prequel to a prequel that was Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which obviously followed this ragtag team going after the Death Star plans and having to deliver them to the rebels. And this is a prequel starring Diego Luna as Andor, and it's set 5 years before the events of Rogue One. And this is sort of his whole story of how he ended up joining the rebellion and his sort of, antics in between, I guess. All the stuff he got into and his whole journey into the rebel thing. And what was his name? Luthen, played by Stellan Skarsgård, how his relationship started with him and how he, brought him in. So yeah, that is kind of the rough story of Andor. Sorry, Kyle, what were your overall thoughts of this?
Right. So let me first of all say, I hate the volume now. I want to go back to actual on set and on site and what's the word I'm looking for? On location, thank you. Sorry,
shooting,
what was I trying to say? But no,
yeah.
So I mean, I think it's fair to say, Lewis. Well, let's go back a fair bit.
Yes.
When this got announced in 2019, I want to say is when it first got announced.
Oh right, yeah. Oh, I remember when this got announced, and I was like, my thing was just why? Who cares about this character? Who cares?
2018,
about this?
sorry.
Why are you doing a whole? 2018, yeah. And I was just like, what a waste of time and production money and all that to make this show about a guy we already know what happens to at the end of Rogue One.
Spoilers, he dies.
And yes, spoilers, he dies. And just like also someone who wasn't really even that I guess not really that interesting in that film. So I was like, this just is like a waste of time to me. My interest was like through the floor at how it was so low. I didn't care.
But then that first trailer came out, and I kind of went, why does this look good? And that genuinely was my first reaction.
I remember, because like you're saying, the production value, the sets, the locations, the visual effects, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I remember messaging you, and you and your little stubborn self were like, oh, I can't be honest watching it. And then you saw the trailer and you were like, ooh, hello here. Yeah. What's this all about?
I was like, all right, okay.
And I mean,
they're actually putting more effort into this than Obi-Wan.
Oh,
really?
Mate,
that's what it looked
honestly,
like.
yes, which bizarre. Yeah. This is so bizarre. Why? I mean, personally for me, I mean, this may jump the gun, but this is like my favorite live action Star Wars TV show yet.
I will agree with you.
You're gonna agree with me there, okay? I didn't want to jump the gun.
I will agree with you that is the best. Yes,
and
I would say so. Sorry, I know Mandalorian has a lot of strong fans. I do have problems with that show though, and this for me was something story-wise far more interesting.
Because honestly,
Mandalorian stuff.
I've been watching it as it aired, right? And you obviously have only watched it in the last week or two. I
started it last week.
Yeah.
I started last week,
and I was saying as more and more I was trying to convince you to watch it. The first when it launched on whenever it launched, it launched with the first 3 episodes, and they did that for a reason because it really does. It takes more time to set up the story because we have 12 episodes here. That's the most.
The whole 12 episodes is structured as 4 3-episode
arcs.
sets.
Yes.
Is what I noticed because it's literally beginning, middle, end of like a whole
you've
kind of build up to a big. I guess you could say it's like a big set piece, but it is a whole build up to a kind of big moment. And I noticed that actually because I noticed halfway through when I was watching, I was like, oh, they've done this again for the whole what was that planet called? Ald. Oh, I can't remember the one where it was like the Scottish mountains sort of thing.
Yes,
and they're trying to do the heist and take all everyone's money.
Yeah.
The dam. Aldani. That finally came to me. That the whole build up was like 3 episodes to then a big escape and performing the heist, and then they did it again with the finale and sort of thing.
They did it with the escape prison break.
Yeah,
so the first 3 episodes are really kind of good at the first. I remember you watched the first one and you messaged me and you were like, it's all right.
Yeah, it was alright.
And I was like,
yeah.
I kind of was like warned you. I was like, yeah, you do have to watch them.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, now I would probably watch them as like 3 short films almost. 4 short films, however many there is. But what I really liked about this, now this, actually, no. I want to hear,
no, okay.
because you told me
Right, okay.
you had one
yes.
gripe with this show, and I've been trying to think, and
okay.
I just want to ask if it
yes.
has anything to do with Mon Mothma's character. I was just wondering.
No, not at all.
Oh, right,
not with
okay.
not with the character, right? Not with any of the characters. It's a very weird thing, and I can already tell people listening to this, and perhaps you are going to tell me to fuck off when I say this, right? But look, okay. The thing is with Star Wars, right? Every time I've watched a Star Wars film or The Mandalorian, I've not seen Boba Fett, to be fair.
Oh, it's an art
There's
form.
always this sense, I always do feel like I have been transported, no matter how bad the films are, I've always been transported to the Star Wars universe and the Star Wars galaxy.
Oh, okay,
Now,
okay.
The thing is with this, I noticed it about 4 episodes in. There is like no aliens in this thing. It's really everything's a human character, right? And I was like, it kind of irked. It didn't really bother me at first. I was like, okay, we're just kind of on this planet. Maybe it's all just humans and that. But as it went on, I was like, there's like a guy in like, if you like, I don't know, if you concentrate really hard on your TV screen, you see a guy in the background like who's an alien. And I noticed this, and I was like, there's like no aliens. And I think this is where I actually started to like really irk me is when you're in the prison. And I was like, there's no aliens in this prison. How can it be in this galaxy? There's no aliens in this prison, right?
Right, okay.
And then also, there's also a thing with, look, did you notice in the Aldani, like, see with the group of characters, someone is just carrying an AK-47.
Well, I know there's a
it's just an AK-47.
AK-47 looking machine gun.
I was like, who's the props master here?
It's interesting you mention about the aliens, because I think, for me personally, do you know what? Couldn't have told you that until you said that to me.
You didn't. People won't notice it. I know they won't. Yeah.
I was so engrossed in the story. Was Obi-Wan not quite like that? I remember somebody pointing
Obi-Wan,
that. I think there was like 2 aliens in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it was something crazy. And it's look, I get it. Star Wars always had human main characters, like the whole thing. But like even the original trilogy, you still had like Mos Eisley, Cantina, and Tatooine. And you had the Ewoks and all that stuff. You had Jabba's palace. You had Chewie was always there. C-3PO, R2-D2. It was just like it was just that little thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but then the thing is, I know that there's gonna be so many like Star Wars plot, holes that can fill it in. Like, the Empire, the Empire are racist.
Empire's all humans.
Empire's all humans, so they would kill all of the alien. These colonies happen just to be all humanoids. You could explain all that, but you know what, you are right. It does kind of take away a wee bit from that. But the space.
There was also little things with like people. I remember how you have the villain character who's
which one, the female officer?
No, the male officer, the guy who's like a really uptight.
Yeah, Cyril.
Cyril. Yeah, Cyril. And look, this is just little things. Honestly, he mentions there's like going to the tailor. And it was just weird things like that. I was like, do you have their tailors exist? I mean, like this precise word. I know it's everyone's speaking the English language. I get it, but it was just little things. And look, it's not a major thing that's going to make me drop this score down or anything. It was just a little thing.
But that's interesting. That's all I wanted to know. Your opinion no longer matters. But I'm joking. What I really loved about this film, this show, was the Empire's presence. Where I genuinely kind of actually felt terrified of them for once. They no longer felt like cannon fodder. Like the idea of the whole security bureau part of the Empire was really interesting. I was like, oh right, okay, this is quite cool. And then the whole kind of prison camp where they would kind of just keep people in, how they were like, you don't actually get freed, you're just moving floors.
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Great Andy Serkis. What
performance in
it.
See when he showed up, I was like, what the fuck is he doing here? I was like, what?
I like seeing him when he's not, in CGI.
Genuinely, he is such an intimidating person. Like,
He's great.
see when he just was there, I was like, I'm actually kind of scared of you. You just look so intimidating.
He's great.
But I
He's
actually
great. I
want
love seeing him.
to bring it around to Mon Mothma just for a second.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
is it Genevieve O'Reilly? I think who plays her.
Yep. You're
So
right. Genevieve
this
O'Reilly.
is this is what I love is that she had a cut scene from Revenge of the Sith in 2004. She then got brought back
Right.
for a cameo scene in Rogue One in 2016, and now
It's the same act.
same
It's the same
actress.
actor.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's an
wow,
actor.
okay.
She's like, so I believe she did. She had. I think did she portray her in Revenge of the Sith? I don't know if her.
That would have been a long time ago.
It
I don't know if it would
deleted.
have been the
No,
same
yep.
person.
Sorry, I'm just checking it. Deleted
It
scenes,
is.
2005.
Okay. Wow. Phew. Wow. She's dedicated.
Mate, that's what I'm saying.
The character.
And I was like, you came back in 2000. You came back 10 years later to do like one scene, and now you're getting a pretty good arc on a full TV show. And I was like, what the?
Great for you.
I was like, that paid off. I tell you, that paid off.
And I will say, the Mon Mothma thing jumps into the part of the show that I really, really liked, and it's the whole espionage element. It's the whole double agent stuff with Mon Mothma, and especially the show stealer for me was Stellan Skarsgård. I loved every scene his character Luthen was in. He just has this great screen presence, so I'm just like always captivated when he's talking. And just the two of them, their whole like kind of dual personality things, the whole fronts they have to put on, and also even that guy who has to work in the Imperial security office and stuff like that.
You only find that out later
I
on.
loved that whole double agent stuff because like it's very, you feel like it's very tense. It's all on thin ice. Like it could all fail at any moment.
See that last,
and even in the last episode, are you going to talk about the gambling thing? Yeah, because she's just lying about her husband gambling, so the driver hears it and gives people false information. I'm like, that's so smart. I love that stuff.
And I'm like, cause she's kind of like planting seeds to see if it's like it's like telling your friends 4 different lies and then waiting to hear which lie you're hearing, you know?
Yeah.
I really like the kind of interconnectivity where you have, so Mon Mothma's cousin is one of the rebel agent working with Skarsgård's character, who you know is, and they're all. I mean, that was so good. Where when we had that heist, or stealing the thing, where most of the crew died. Yeah, you know.
And then, I know even the one that survived was like, let's just take the money and go.
I love how ruthless this show is. As in, Andor will just literally murder. Like he will just murder people left, right, and centre.
And
one thing,
that's the thing, and Luthen, the whole thing with like Luthen and his friends and stuff. They're like, after the Aldani thing was done, they were going to kill Andor. They're like, he's a loose end.
Well, and
like they're willing to do anything and everything to make sure.
And the more they
like,
hear that
this is pretty bleak. It reminded me of remember Intimidation Game, Benedict Cumberbatch, about Alan Turing.
Yes.
And that thing, how they broke the Nazis' code. And they still had to let so many people die because they didn't want the Nazis to know.
Let the Nazis know that they
had the
broke
code.
it, yeah.
And it's that sort of thing, that sort of sacrifice, and that sort of like double agent espionage stuff. And I'm like, that's great. It's great.
Obviously,
I really did like it.
Well, let's talk about the kind of finale, because I think this was a fantastic finale for the sense it wasn't a huge.
No, it wasn't a huge.
That's what I love about it. Now, most recently. She-Hulk made a mockery of it, where I don't know if you've heard of it. The She-Hulk started with it being a huge traumatic thing.
I know, but
so when I was watching this, and I was just sitting going really, really tense, and then I was like, "Oh, are these guys when they're going to bury?" And also, see that fact Andor's mother just died out of the blue. I was like, "She did?" Because I was so not convinced because of just how blunt we were. That droid nearly made me cry. Like. 5 times, by the way. I thought it was so charismatic in the way it stuttered, and it was like, why is everybody leaving me? And I'm like, oh my god.
I know. I kind of like the whole idea. It was like where that became like a central, or her death became a central plot point, not obviously just to Andor's character, but to also everyone, because all the villains were like, yeah, he's going to go to this funeral.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to meet up at this point because of this, because he cares so much about her. I thought that was good. I thought it was clever to sort of use that as a weapon against him and stuff.
I loved how it wasn't like a huge final fight. It was a wee bit of a tuffle. One wee boy made a pipe bomb basically, You know, it was act of terrorism. It was, and there was that great line where, so I don't think so. His mum technically said it, but it was his friend repeating it, and it's one of my favorite lines from Rogue One. It's like, "We are the spark that will light the flame."
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no, that's used from.
That's Last Jedi.
That's Last Jedi, but they mention it kind of in this.
They do have they have a weird like play on it in this.
And then I was kind of like, oh, I love the idea that these are just the embers that are kind of going to build up into what will be the rebellion, and the ending where so Skarsgård goes back to his ship, and Andor is basically like, you can kill me or you can bring me in, as in bring me in into the inner circle of this rebellion. And then I think Skarsgård's...
Yeah, because I think that's the important thing for the whole show, because Andor really for the whole thing was just a man on the run, really. And just like he did the heist, not for really the rebellion, although he kind of did it just for the money to get away and escape to a nice beach resort. And then obviously throughout the whole thing, going into that whole prison thing, the whole the Empire like going in his home city, ruining it, his mother's death, it's just all pushed him to be like, I'm going to join the rebellion.
That was a really cool...
It was solid.
I want to know who wrote it, because I love the idea that in this society, your ashes get turned into brick, and then you become part of the city. I was like, that's... Somebody put extra effort into that, into writing that script.
Yeah. It's the whole thing, really. It's so strange to me, because like, it really feels like adult, serious Star Wars. Like even the use of language, you know, they're talking like very, very political and like jargon and stuff like that, and it's just like, this is like really. I've got to really pay attention to what's going on here.
I really just. Honestly, I enjoyed it every minute. I loved all the villain characters, like you said. The
villains are all really good. I really like how it's just human.
Yeah, the Cyril,
just like people with no powers.
The Cyril character, who was very like so anal on getting revenge on Andor.
Literally so punchable.
And what I love is
what a great performance.
Everybody, I don't think this counts as a spoiler. Everybody's still here. Everybody's still alive. No villains have died. No like major kind of turnarounds have happened. One person who I think I feel sorry for her is Bix's character, because torture with the screaming, where it was we put it as like a human, or as like the screams of the children, and we just intensified it. Forrest Whitaker, I thought that was a nice little cameo. I was glad that he just showed up, and it was like, it felt more in use because he would have been a big player in the kind of cells.
I like sort of the introduction with characters, especially like see the likes of like Mon Mothma, right? I feel like if this was the Mandalorian, there would have been like a big like a whole like who's coming this, and it's a mysterious silhouette coming into like the foreground, and it's just like a close up of it's Mon Mothma. Woo! Oh my god! But in this her introduction to characters, she just gets out a car or a spaceship and just walks into a shop.
Because
it's so nonchalant. Sort of it's just like so casual, just like it's not like a big deal that she's a person in the universe.
There's a great one of the coolest things I kind of thought is like as a nice Easter egg is, I don't know if that in that shop, I don't know how familiar you are with the Force Unleashed games, but there's the armor for the Starkiller character in the background, and it's like I remember going, I was like, oh, that's such a cool wee nod. But I want to say,
what would you say? Okay, oh sorry, don't care.
Just my final bit. The reason I say, as we know, Lewis, I stated a while ago that my favorite Star Wars TV show would be one that had no lightsabers in it. And I'm pleased to say that is why Andor goes to the top of my list.
Honestly, I'm actually really surprised they actually restrained themselves.
See, when I saw there was an end credit scene, I genuinely I panicked. I genuinely...
I thought it was going to be Darth Vader whipping out a lightsaber.
See, when I said to you, like, in my text, I was like, it could be like Darth Vader's fan. I was being like, fine, I'll do it myself. I genuinely was a bit worried that it would be like somebody walking into a room going, Lord Vader, there's been a rebellion insurgents on the planet of Ferrix.
He does the Darth Maul thing in Solo where he just forces his lightsaber.
Like something like that. Like, I genuinely was actually quite scared. I was like, we're so close to perfection. Let's not ruin it.
It's quite incredible. I really want to know what's going on like behind the scenes with like Lucasfilm stuff so much because of just how crazy it goes on. Like, how did Obi-Wan come out and be so disappointing and poor, and story-wise was really uninteresting and looked really cheap and bad, whereas this got all like this looks a lot like a movie, really. I mean, it's like the visual effects in this are probably better than Black Panther 2, like better than Thor, and better than like Doctor Strange. Like it's a TV show. How is it better than those three blockbuster films? It's crazy.
You know, it's.
I'm like even remember the Eye episode, the whole escape from the heist. I'm like that looks fantastic. With the whole TIE fighters
God.
chasing the big truck.
Do you know what I was saying that to her when we were watching it? The presence of one TIE fighter felt so intimidating.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and just when it's going over the water, and it looks massive when you're on the ground.
You know,
and stuff like
that's what I was saying.
Really
it did such a good job into making this pathetic thing look terrifying. And I mean, that's genuinely why it is probably.
Hey, I like the TIE fighters. What are you talking about? I think they're cool.
No, I'm not.
I like TIE fighters.
I think they're great, but it's more the sense that, you know, in Force Awakens, one ship takes out 20 of them. That's more what I would say. It's like, you know, they felt more like, here we are. These are intimidating. I was like, oh shit. But I was really glad that.
Yeah. So let's do final scores, Kyle. What's your final score for Andor?
It's for me. This is gonna be quite. It's like a 9 out of 10 for me. I genuinely really enjoyed it. I had very little to no gripes with the show. Yeah. If they had a lightsaber, it'd be down to a 6. That's all I'm saying.
For me, I'm probably gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's my favorite Star Wars show that I've seen. Guys, I've not seen many of the cartoons. I've not seen Clone Wars, so don't.
I thought you were going to say I haven't seen Book of Boba Fett, and I'm like, I don't think you need.
I've also not seen Book of Boba Fett.
I don't think you need to worry about Book of Boba Fett pushing it up there.
I'll need to actually watch 2 episodes of that because when I see Mandalorian season 3, I need to know what's going on.
Technically 3.
Oh, fuck's sake. I think it's the best Star Wars show. It's the best thing I've seen from Star Wars in years, really. Best live action thing. I'll say that because I've not seen much of the cartoons. Great, like, just blockbuster television. That's what it is to me. That's really solid blockbuster television.
Solid espionage.
Well, I've got low grades. I mean, some of the characters, like, for me, weren't really that interesting, but, like, the main ones, like I said, Mon Mothma, Luthen, Andor himself, the 3 main guys. That's all it really needed to be that important, and they were good. Action wise, excellent, and I'm really looking forward to where this show goes for series 2. I know you saying the first half of series 2 is going to be
right. So this
2 years before Rogue One.
Yes, and then there's going to be a jump because it's another 12 episodes. So we're going to have 6 episodes 2 years before Rogue One, and then 6 episodes, I believe, a year to 6 months before Rogue One. So the idea is, now I'm not entirely sure this is confirmed, but that the final episode basically leads into Andor going to that planet to get that information.
Right.
Which is kind of what worries me a bit about season 2, because
they're kind of trying to force it.
There's going to be
into Rogue One.
Well, no, I think there's going to be more people. So I think we've got. I don't want to call this out right now. But I can guarantee you we'll see Senator Organa as in the father, because I think he'll start having kind of like connections with Mon Mothma. Hopefully
he was in Rogue One.
He was in Rogue One, yes. I do hope to God we don't get Leia, because that's already been done to us once this year. And then I think we'll have just a couple of bits and pieces. I don't know if you say it, I just want to say how great this continuity was. See the guy he escapes prison with, and he's on the run. He's in Rogue One. He's like a background character in Rogue One.
An extra guy.
That main ship that goes down on the Battle of Scarif at the end of it, he's in it. Yeah. And I was like, that's dedication. But I'm a wee bit worried about season 2 because I know it will get bigger.
Yeah. And look, I've heard also that this is the lowest viewed by a long shot Star Wars.
Oh yeah, because
live action Star Wars
nobody cares about Andor, which is ridiculous because I think he's a fantastic character.
It's like, how, even in a mega franchise like Star Wars, people aren't watching the quality stuff coming out of like a blockbuster thing. It's like indie cinema all over again.
I just want to, and I don't know if I didn't think I sent you this or something, but if I can, I will. But there was these people who had a 30-minute rant about why Andor was so bad, okay? And then they presented another show that they would have thought would have been better to replace Andor. And it was a TV show following General Grievous. And at that point,
Okay, that's gonna wrap up this thing. Oh my god,
that kind of broke me. I was like, is that what these fans want? Shit.
Yeah,
Do they just want shit on their plate?
No, because there is a lot of effort and a lot of talent going into this. Like the fact they went like, because I've recognised some of these places. See the place with the dam, like there's a Munro I've climbed next to that.
Yeah,
so
that
like,
dam's up the
that's
west
quite
of
incredible.
Scotland.
They actually, yeah, exactly. I was like, I can't believe they're actually there and on those mountains, on those hills, and like that looks fantastic. They did a lot of effort production wise with this, and I'm very happy.
Actually flew the course
yeah.
on. Amazing.
There you go.
Jeez.
That will wrap up the Andor review, guys. Thank you very much for listening. You know all the usual YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, blah blah blah. You get it. I'll trust you to do it. You know it. But yeah, that'll wrap up the review, and thank you very much for listening. Right. Bye bye.